Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. This is the Mad Monarch, or Michael, since calling me Monarch I'm sure would be kind of strange. And today on the Fury of the Mad Monarch, we have Angela Knight. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me on. Um, I write the Thoughts of a Feminist Gamer blog, and generally I bum about on Twitter and talk about feminism and video games.
Oh,
What else do you need to know?
well, I am hearing myself in my headphones right now.
Okay, typical. As soon as you start and go on it, something goes wrong technically. Told you should have been nice to it.
This is a big delay. All right, did you just hear everything we said at the beginning repeated back to you?
No,
Huh.
but then I don't have the YouTube link open as well as
Oh,
as well as this. There's always a delay with Google Hangouts.
okay.
If it's because you want to look at the comments, then you can just mute the actual video bit so you don't
Yeah.
hear.
Okay. I didn't realize I was going to be hearing myself over the live video I had open too. Alrighty then. Back to the page I'm supposed to be on. Alright, and today we're going to be talking about Skyrim, latest release of all of the Elder Scrolls games. I'm kind of breaking one of the rules of this show talking about Skyrim since I've not actually reviewed it yet. However, I've always kind of had a bit of an axe to grind with the Elder Scrolls games, so I decided to make an exception for you.
You're too kind. Too kind.
Now, I remember talking to you a bit about this before. You said one of the reasons you liked the Skyrim is how it reminds you of like all the old school D&D tabletop type games.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. I play tabletop D&D. I have been known to, and in my way of thinking, there's usually sort of two schools of RPG players, and there's the ones that really like the kind of linear set adventure with set characters, where you know exactly what you've got to do and exactly where you've got to go. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that kind of linear game, both in tabletop and in video games, because it means the creator can have a more interesting story because they know exactly where the player is going to be and what they will have done at each point in the story. So that makes designing sort of complex narratives a lot easier. And then there's the other school of kind of RPG players that want the freedom to be able to make their own choices about where they go and what they do. And some will stubbornly refuse to go along with story plot hooks, which is any DM will tell you is an absolute nightmare when you're trying to get players to a particular place that you really want them to go. And there's always that stubborn person, the stubborn player in the party that refuses to go along with it and says, "No, I don't want to go there. Let's go over here." And Skyrim, for me, is the game that's perfect for that kind of RPG player. As I say, there's nothing wrong with wanting that kind of linear storytelling, but Skyrim is absolutely perfect for if you don't want to be pulled along by a string, if you don't want to follow plot hooks. Skyrim is absolutely perfectly the game for you.
Yeah,
Really.
it's interesting because I also play a lot of tabletop games. Like I run a monthly game or a weekly game myself for a group DMing it.
Yeah.
Yet I come into Elder Scrolls, I'm hearing how similar it can be to your tabletop experiences, And since the first time I played one back at Morrowind, it felt like such a poor replacement for actually sitting down and playing a tabletop game. Like, you have all the different options, and especially in Skyrim, which I actually don't hate Skyrim at all, but it stands as my favorite of the Elder Scrolls games. But even then, it just kind of comes across to me with is again a very poor substitute for actually playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or whatever tabletop system you're into at the time.
Yeah, well, to be fair, there is nothing like actually playing tabletop. There really is nothing like it. And I don't think there'll ever be a video game that gives you that experience because you're doing it with your friends, and the amount of choice that you can have, it is great. There's nothing. I don't think there's a video game that's ever really gonna kind of compete with that. That's ever gonna really fully give you that experience. But Skyrim is probably the closest that I've seen. And the thing is with me, I mean, I can't really defend the entire Elder Scrolls series because I came into Skyrim as a complete noob. I've never played any of the Elder Scrolls series, although I have since looked at Oblivion. And I came into Skyrim right off the back of the disappointment that was Dragon Age 2. So it was literally sort of playing an RPG 1 minute where it's like, you maniacs, you blew it up, and then coming straight into Skyrim and just being like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, because it was so different and such a relief, such a cure for my wounded soul after Dragon Age 2. It really was.
I always hate to admit liking Dragon Age 2.
Get out. Get out.
There were some ridiculously lazy aspects of that game. Like, I will not come on the show and defend Dragon Age 2 because I would fail horribly.
I mean, it's probably not the worst game I've ever played, but at the same, compared to the first one, just oh no, the first one was so good, so good. I spent months on Dragon Age, absolute months, and then yeah, so to then come into Skyrim, and it's like the visuals of it are absolutely stunning. And the great thing that I love about Skyrim is the fact that it's so open world. It's a complete sandbox. You can run around. You can do whatever you want. I think some of the story missions are great too. I mean, to be honest, for me, the Dark Brotherhood storyline is worth buying the game for in itself. I love the Dark Brotherhood thing, and I regularly go back to that. But at the same time, with Skyrim, that I think they really, really understood that not everybody wants to save the world. Not everybody wants to go and be a Dragonborn and save the world. Some people just want to build a house and get married and read a bunch of books and sit in the pub and drink Nord mead and go harvest some cabbages or catch some butterflies. They really understood that not everybody kind of wants to follow the main storylines, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, really. I don't.
Oh, definitely not. Like, I'll agree with you, like, the Dark Brotherhood was a fun little plot line that you could follow in the game.
Yeah,
there are a couple others.
I stumbled onto that completely accidentally as well. And then it's just like, yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I love that storyline.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like, while there's that, there's a couple other fun stories you can follow along with. Like, I quite like the Companions quest.
Yeah.
They are the Companions, right? The werewolf one?
Yeah.
Okay. But, like, a couple of them like that were a lot of fun. But you'll go through a lot of these giant, important stories throughout all of Skyrim, but after you finish them, it's like anything you've done doesn't really matter. Like, what's it really matter in the scheme of the game after you've accomplished your Dark Brotherhood missions, you've finished that plot line, you don't really see the effects on anything else going on in Skyrim. It's just like this novel little event that's happened off to the side.
At the same time, though, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, because it's for me that's kind of that shows more than anything else how big the place is and how much or how little the fact that you don't necessarily affect everything. And in terms of sort of memorable things, it's the little things really, it's the little details that I love about Skyrim. I mean, I remember doing what was it, the Chef Gourmet mission with that one, where you've got to go and you've got to replace the Chef Gourmet and you've got to get in the castle, mix up the recipe, and assassinate the Emperor. And I remember going and doing that, and then I'm trying to escape the palace, and I'm thinking, how the hell does every guard know that it was me? Because every single guard is suddenly after me, and they all know it's me, and it's like, how the hell do they know it's me? And I'm running and running, I'm trying to get away, and I only just managed to get away. And it's only when I went to sort of ride off to escape that I realised I was still wearing my chef's hat, and that's how they knew it was me. I had completely forgotten that I was wearing this blooming hat, and that's how it all comes. And yeah, my husband laughed at me a lot. You're still wearing the hat. That's how come they know it's you. Shut up. So yeah, I mean, it really is the kind of little details I love about Skyrim. I mean, I know that they probably kind of dumbed things down slightly in terms of the mechanics, because it's clear with Skyrim that they kind of wanted to appeal to a more broader audience.
Indeed.
And again, to be honest, I don't see anything wrong with that. I know that there are your kind of really rigid kind of old school RPG players that are like, no, you can't do that, can't dumb down for the masses. But it opens up RPG playing to a whole new audience, and I think that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I would like to see more RPGs and RPGs becoming kind of popular again, if you know what I mean, more popular.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Like, I may have issues with the Elder Scrolls games, but I do love that these are things that exist because, well, Bethesda makes a rather unique style of game. You do have others like your Planescape Torment, which I've been meaning to play because I hear it's fantastic.
Yeah, same. So it's on the list. when you grow up, you've got a list of games that you want to play.
I know.
Or even a list of games, or even just the games that you have that you've not gotten around to yet.
Indeed. But yeah, in regards to Skyrim, though, like when you said there's a lot of little things that make you enjoy it. While I agree, there's also a lot of little things I noticed that bother the crap out of me. Like going back to Dark Brotherhood, when you were in that one room to start it off, and you have like those 3 people, and it asks you who to kill.
Yeah.
I'm so derailed. This master assassin isn't prepared for me to turn around and stab her in the face. She has like no defense against this plan. Or so much when you do kill her, if you go this route, you just go turn it into that one guy, and it's like, oh yeah, the Dark Brotherhood. I heard their password a while ago. Let's go ruin their base.
I like that. Well, it's normally in that kind of style RPG. Normally, what may happen is a case of if you choose to do that, that whole like story quest then is sort of closed off to you. But they don't do that. They've taken your decision, and that they've made a storyline to go with that decision. And I like that. I think that's great.
I like
But
the alternate storyline. What I don't like is how just horribly incompetent this makes the Dark Brotherhood look. This guy's just been sitting here with their password this whole time. Why haven't their base just been stormed already? They clearly suck at their job.
then there wouldn't be a video game. Shush.
It just makes them look so incompetent. That becomes a problem with a lot of this game's writing. Like, did you ever read the dossiers in the Aldori Dominion Embassy?
No, I didn't.
All right. See, I did this before starting on the Civil War quest lines.
Yeah.
And you find a book just of the Aldori Dominion detailing that they're the ones funding Ulfric Stormcloak's rebellion. And I'm sitting here, I have this evidence in my hand. Why can I not show it to anybody? Like, it's defaulted you to playing a douchebag, no matter what you choose to do at this point.
Oh, to be honest, with that, again, I'm not too unhappy about that because once you start getting into kind of the political intrigues and whatnot, that you're probably there's no way you're really gonna end up a hero once you start dabbling in politics. Are you really? I think, to be honest, that kind of makes it more realistic in terms of political machinations, and that yeah, you're not going to walk out of that without staining your honor with probably without blood on your hands.
I can agree to an extent, but there's not even an option to try to show this to somebody. You're denied the option of being a remotely decent person if you do the main story quests first. I mean, there's always the option that you just didn't read the book, but I did.
That's the thing. That's probably what they're counting on, is that you just don't read it. So they put it in there for the kind of for the completionists and the ones that read every single scrap of what they're given in the game. So that's probably the only reason they put it in there in the first place. The thing is that I don't think people buy Skyrim to play the main storyline. They buy it for its open world feature. That's its main selling point, and the fact that you get to kill dragons. That was the major selling point of Skyrim. Look,
okay.
You can kill some dragons.
You know, that could have been a major selling point if this game's dragons weren't so just horribly underwhelming. It doesn't really feel like...
I played Reign of Fire, the movie tie-in game.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, everything is going to be impressive comparison to those dragons, I am sure. I've never even looked at that game, but it's a movie tie-in to Rain of Fire.
Don't. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. The main selling point of that was that you could play as a dragon, and you could fly about in sort of for half the game. You could be the dragon trying to kill everybody. But the mechanics for flying was awful. It was so broken. You just could not get it to work at all. It was terrible. And of course, it's the learning the lesson of, don't buy movie license games ever, because they're always awful.
But yeah, just avoid buying licensed games.
Yeah, the main advertising thing with Skyrim was that you got to kill dragons, but you don't have to. That's the great thing I love about it. Again, it's back to there being so many options, it being so big, there being so much. And to be fair, when you're putting that much content in, there are going to be a little things that they slip up on. There are. No game is perfect. But I mean, to be fair, it's probably the best that they could do with the material they had, and to be fair, it consistently comes up in lists of the best games ever made.
Yeah, so does Final Fantasy X.
Shut up.
I hate that game.
Final Fantasy X. No.
But see, when you said like this was probably the best they can do, I would just point you to Fallout New Vegas when Obsidian got a hold of the license. Fallout
That
New Vegas is absolutely fantastic.
that one is on my list. That I have been meaning to play that.
Like, you
But
get all those different side things you have the options of doing. And, like, after you actually finish the main story, like, unlike Skyrim, it technically stops there, but you can reload prior to doing the final mission. But you get resolution to all of these different actions you've taken. Like, you find out what becomes of the great cons depending upon your choices, any companion you get along the way. You find out what happens to them in their individual stories after the plot ends. There's, like, resolution and consequences to everything you've done through the game, even things not directly tying into the main plot. So you get all that open world exploration, all the little things you find everywhere, with competent writing.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference thing because I'm kind of willing to sacrifice some closure, some small amount of closure, for the amount of choices and for the amount of content. Um, and the fact that things aren't always. I mean, to be honest, it kind of slightly bugs me sometimes when you get resolution to everything and everything is all tied up in a nice, neat little bow and it's absolutely fine because I know it's a video game, but at the same time, things don't work like that. You don't always get that resolution. So I don't know. To be fair, the slightly sacrificing that small amount of resolution for me, it's worth it. For me, that makes the game actually more immersive.
Well, I always got the feeling with Skyrim, like, it's not so much that they're sacrificing some kind of resolution or tying things up, as they just don't bother trying. Like, you become the head of the Mages College. That really does not mean anything the moment you assume that title. It's like, I'm the Archmage. What changes? Absolutely nothing. I'm just going to go catch some butterflies now.
I mean, I think part of with Skyrim is that they have really concentrated on it being open-ended and the aesthetics as well, and that they like that kind of really open-ended format. And yeah, to be honest, I don't think that's a problem. I don't like being kind of hemmed in by storyline. I mean, there's nothing wrong with linear storytelling, but yeah, I'm always going to go back to the fact that there is so much to do in Skyrim. Really, kind of you get out of it what you put in that there's as much as you're with the story, whatever you kind of make it. And I love that you don't necessarily have to. You don't have to choose a character class at all at the beginning of the game. So your gameplay style is not set really rigidly early in the game, which is a thing with quite a lot of RPGs. It's your character builds as you go along. That's something I really like about Skyrim.
Oh yeah, I do love that there's a lot of customization, just a vast amount of things to do out in the world. Like all the weird little things you can find.
And
Some
of
of the
course, there's the mods. I mean, the mods are insane.
Alright, I
Absolutely
will
insane.
grant you, a lot of mods can make these games a lot better, but I think when you have to argue the game's good because other people go in to fuck with it to make it better, I don't know if you can make the argument that that makes the game itself good. It makes the mods you can put on it good.
I don't know because if there wasn't the kind of basic material to work with, then nobody would be interested
Yeah.
in modding it. And the fact that the modding community for Skyrim alone is so huge, and the fact that they've seen all the potential for all these mods in there and have just immediately gone in and done whatever they like. They've taken the technology to the farthest extent that it can go. I think is absolutely fantastic. But that wouldn't happen if the raw material wasn't there. I mean, nobody's making mods for really, really crap games, are they?
Okay, I've done like a lot of emulation and playing like fan mods of video games, and yes, there are a lot of people doing that for games they themselves hate. They will go in and mod these old Super Nintendo ROM files.
Oh god. Oh god. Not Superman 64. No.
Oh god, I'm going to have to Google that soon to find out if somebody's modded that. I'm sure
No.
somebody's tried.
Oh no, I hope not. That's just like complete. Just oh yes,
But yeah,
wasting of your life to mod Superman 60. Why
but
would you
yeah,
do that?
I have no idea. But yeah, like there is a lot of things I do like about Skyrim though. Like I love how much effort they put into like the world building and lore of these games.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
probably my favorite thing to have come across in Skyrim is just this random book that was just written by a Khajiit to explain like the Khajiit culture and cause to outsiders. But that just made me want to go play in their homeland and leave Skyrim because it seemed far more interesting than what was going on here.
Yeah, I do have a soft spot for the Khajiit. I like the Khajiit very much. I really do. They're just, I mean, if you're playing as a thief and you level up so much to the point where you're just spending the entire game sneaking really slowly, and it makes the game about 100 hours longer than it really needs to be. But
No, on that note, I hate that when you get your sneak so high, everybody seems to acknowledge it. Like, oh, you're that really sneaky guy. It's like, well, I'm so good. How the fuck does anybody know?
well, word gets around. All it takes is one.
Well, if you never get caught in the game, though, they're still doing it. Like, I don't understand how everyone in the freaking country seems to know you're a really sneaky guy. Clearly, you are not.
Well,
Things like that start to irritate me in this game.
well, again, to be honest, I like that because damn it, I worked hard. I worked hard to attain that level of skill. I wanted it. I wanted acknowledged.
Well, then don't train in something that's inherently something you don't want to be acknowledged in.
I worked hard to sneak that well. Tell me how sneaky I am. Yeah,
Like other things besides Sneak, when they become acknowledged, it doesn't bother me, but that one specifically.
I mean, mm, oh, 2 secs. I think one of my children is calling me. Hang on.
Not a problem. So, people on the stream, all three of you? What's up? I just realized I don't even know where to go to actually see any kind of live comments on this thing. Huh, screw
Okay,
that.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Oh, not a problem.
So
So,
yeah, the main reason why I really really love Skyrim, um, it's again the open world thing, and because I can put it down after having played hours and hours and hours and hours for weeks on end, I can put it down and leave it for a couple of months. I mean, it's been a couple of months since I played, to be honest. But I know that I'll go back to it, and I keep on going back to it.
you
Um,
know, for all the crap I give the game, I'll eventually probably pick up and play through with another character too. Because I,
yeah,
I don't hate
every
it.
time every time I do, I'm discovering new things about it. Um, and it's like no time has passed at all when I do go back and I just rediscover. And there's not many games I do that with, to be fair, because I get bored of things fairly quickly. And once I've kind of wringed all the fun out of a game that I'm going to, I'll generally, I may put it down and never play it again.
Yeah.
But with Skyrim, I'll put it down and then, a month or two will go by and it'll be, well, Skyrim, oh yeah, I really fancy playing that. And then I'll play it again and just go through it and do something different or just bum around and mess about, do whatever I want in there or and yeah, I'll keep picking it up and going back, which is something I've never really done with any other game.
I think with games like Skyrim, when it comes down to like, while I love just the freedom, all the options, it's no matter what you do, it just doesn't feel like it matters in the grand scheme or even the short term of anything. Something which I didn't feel needed to be sacrificed to give you that freedom, which is probably why I love the New Vegas games so much. Is you get all of that without having to sacrifice just the consequence of all of your actions.
Hmm. I mean, well, I can agree with you to some extent in that some of the dialogue in Skyrim, yeah, it isn't great, and there are an awful lot of protected characters. I mean, it's very easy to kind of make the comparison between Skyrim for its open world nature and something like GTA, but the fact is in Skyrim there are so many protected characters because they're people that you need to talk to advance a storyline. If you really, really wanted to massacre an entire village, if that need ever came upon you for some reason, then you probably couldn't because there would be characters in there that you need to talk to and they're protected, which is not a thing at all in GTA. At all. Anyone is game in GTA. So yeah, I will agree with you that Skyrim is not perfect. It does have its problems. Something I've come across is, and I don't know if others have found the same thing, that when I got
Oh, one
married,
second.
oh,
There is a Superman 64 mod.
oh no,
I'm not going to click play on this YouTube video because
please
I do not
don't.
want to see it. But this is a thing that does in fact exist.
Oh no.
Anyway,
Oh, I
as you
don't
were,
know. I don't know whether to stand in awe of this person or to feel really, really sorry for them. Just because, why would you do that?
don't know. Anyway, as you were saying,
I don't know if anybody else has noticed this with Skyrim or if it's just something I did in this particular playthrough. But I've noticed when I get married that if something happens to my spouse, I can't get married again.
Huh.
I
I
don't know
didn't
if it
notice
was
that.
just in this one play, if it was something I did in this particular playthrough, because I've not tried to do it again. It was in the last playthrough I did, so it's not something I've tried to do since. But I don't know if that's a thing in the game or if it was just a thing in this particular storyline. But yeah, I couldn't get married again after my poor wife died.
Yeah, I swear you're supposed to be able to remarry, but I don't know. I never actually tried to do it myself, so I can't verify that.
Oh yeah, because we have the DLC as well that allows us to adopt kids.
Yeah, the hearth
So my
something.
house is full of irritating children that want me to give me a gift every time I come home. Hold off! You're ungrateful. I got you off the street.
I love how your kids are basically thieves. Like, here's this random stuff I found. You just found these gems. You stole these, didn't you?
I love that it gives you the option to just like give them like loads and loads of gold, enough gold. It's just shut up, take all my gold. Oh wow, this is enough to buy everything in the market. Yeah, just shut up, go away. I love that it gives you the option to do that.
Indeed. But
Or you could
yeah,
say, oh, hey, I brought you a gift. Oh, what is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, it's this moldy rubbish. Oh, yeah, that's great. Thanks, Mom. Yes, trolling, trolling your Skyrim kids. I love that it gives you the option to do that.
indeed. Like, I think my favorite of the DLCs was the. Which one was it that had the vampires? I forget what they called that DLC.
Oh, I'm not sure. Hang on, let me look it up.
But no, like, the vampire chick you can get as your companion is like the most interesting character I'd come across in all of Skyrim.
The Dawn Guard. Dawn Guard
Yes,
DLC.
like that was the best writing I'd seen in Skyrim was that Dawnguard expansion. If they could have kept up a quality similar to that through the whole game, I would probably have enjoyed it a lot more than I did. Of
Yeah.
course, I didn't
Yeah,
really
I will agree
find.
that some of the writing is kind of hokey. And that is a thing I saw in Oblivion as well. And some of the voice acting as well is not it's not great. But at the same time, you're kind of used to that, you know.
I grew up watching like anime in like the late '90s, so it takes some terrible voice acting before it starts to get to me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. If
Like
you've been
I
video
could,
gaming for any length of time, you're used to some. You probably heard some really really bad voice acting.
I mean, I can tolerate the voice acting of Love Hina if you've ever seen that.
In
I,
what?
of Love Hina.
No.
It's terrible, but I can tolerate it. But that's like one of the staples of like some of the worst voice acting in anime was from that show. If I can tolerate that, the
Yeah.
voice acting of the Elder Scrolls is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing though I do like about Skyrim
Yeah.
is it probably had the best opening out of any of the Elder Scrolls games when you're just on that cart and
Yeah.
Olaf's giving his little speech. Like that
Yeah.
sets a great overall tone just for the game and what kind of country you're in and the how these people are supposed to be. Does a fantastic job setting that up, but does not follow it up.
Oh, you're too harsh.
Y- I am. I can't help it.
And then the first time you see the dragon as well. and it's just like, oh my god, it's a dragon. I love dragons.
That was cool until I realized that was actually the big bad dragon of the game right there. Then he suddenly felt very underwhelming.
Yeah, again, I played Ren of Fire, so if it even looks remotely like a dragon and moves remotely like a dragon should, then yeah, it's got my vote.
Oh
So
no, I might just have a higher standard for dragons after playing Odin Sphere and seeing Leviathan, the
yeah.
last dragon, just encircle the freaking planet. That thing was horrifying. Like I can't even remember the name of the dragon in Skyrim.
What is it? Oldwin. Oldwin.
Like I
Oldwin.
remember Parthenax because he's awesome.
Yeah, Oldwin. I say it's been a month or two since I played. Mm.
I think it's been close to a year since I've thrown in Skyrim.
And I'm thinking of I will probably go back to it fairly soon. As soon as I finish Tomb Raider.
I've still not played the new Tomb Raider. I need to get around to that.
I'm
Is
enjoying it.
is the
For the most-
camera better than the older games?
Yes and no.
Oh god.
There are some sections, yes, where the camera does hate you, which I have noticed.
Like that
But at the same time, I almost think of that as like that almost makes me smile because I mean I played the original on PC as a teenager, so that it kind of that has a kind of nostalgic value to me. Oh, I can only look through the side of my head. I can't see anything. Oh, it's just like the old game.
That's what killed those older Tomb Raiders for me is I couldn't stand the camera.
The main problem I have with it, there's a slight niggle, is that one I've got the hand axe almost at the start of the game, and I'm fighting wolves, and it's making me use my bow to fight wolves. It won't let me use the hand axe. It won't give me a hand melee weapon for close quarter combat until I haven't got it yet. It's like I've got a perfectly good climbing axe. Why can't I whack wolves with it?
That would
Instead,
be
I want to
awesome.
dodge out the way and shoot them with my bow. No, I've got a perfectly good climbing axe.
I'm
Why
sure
can't
that'll
I?
cave a skull in.
Yeah, exactly. I would be using that. Why can't I use it? So yeah, for the most part, I am liking Tomb Raider. Um, but yeah, as soon as I finish Tomb Raider, I may well go back. May well go back to Skyrim with that one, or maybe I'll play Oblivion again,
Or you can get New Vegas.
or I could get New Vegas. Well, yeah,
Seriously, it's
that's an option.
fantastic.
That is an option. But yeah, I think the main reason I think I will always love Skyrim for that is because, as I say, I came off it. I came to it off the back of Dragon Age 2, and I think that Skyrim has brought RPGs to a new audience of gamers. That people who had never played an RPG before, people who'd never thought that they would like an RPG, have played Skyrim. Even some of the people that sort of the Call of Duty crowd will play Skyrim.
Indeed.
Um,
For that, I'm happy is a thing. Because, again, just gives people so many more options of games they can get into, easier ways to maybe get into some of the more hardcore of the genre, like for Elder Scrolls, that'd be your Morrowind, or some of the older classics, and possibly some of the newer ones are going to come out with soon.
yeah, I mean, I didn't play Elder Scrolls Online. I didn't on principle because of the subscriptions, um, and the microtransactions, and just generally the amount of money that they wanted just for you to play the game. It's just like, yeah, no, on principle, I'm not going to play Elder Scrolls Online until it becomes free to play.
I avoid Elder Scrolls Online because I do not like dealing with other people and having to pay monthly to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
I played Final
Exactly.
Fantasy 14 for a couple months.
Oh, you poor thing.
No, it's actually a pretty fun game,
What did you do that
but
for?
well, I don't know. I'm a sucker for Final Fantasy. Like it's one of the earliest memories I have is playing like Final Fantasy 2 back on the Super Nintendo, which it's actually Final Fantasy 4, but yeah, we
Yeah.
got it as 2. So since then, I've just been playing like every title to come out except the 13 sequels.
I was never really into the Final Fantasy series. I mean, just I don't know. It's just a series that never really grabbed me. I mean, I watched my husband play eight,
Oh
and
God, no
I found
wonder.
eight so annoying. And then we both played 10, and we both played 10-2 as well. And there's so much love for 10 and 10-2, and I don't get it. I really don't. I don't
Those
get
are like the three, or well, two of the worst. 10-2's bad, but I just can't get angry at that one.
You know they're on about re-releasing them for the PS4 and Xbox One, 10 and 10-2.
They just re-released them on PS3,
Yeah, now they're going to release it on the PS4
and they're
just
still not doing a remake of 7.
just to milk you some more. Yeah, but would you really want them to? Because you know they'd fuck it up.
You know, I'm not that big of a Final Fantasy 7 fan. I enjoy it, but of all the Final Fantasies I enjoy, it's the lowest rated one for me.
Yeah.
They really can't do worse. I mean, make it look nicer and give it a less crappy translation and less horrible English. Like, the one thing I'd hope they keep in is this guy are sick. No real reason to keep that in other than nostalgia, but I love that line.
Fun.
It was like I
Well,
was so sad when they redid Final Fantasy Tactics on the PSP. Like the translation and script is far better, but I was sad they changed the line "rebels plotting rebellion."
well, have you been following the kind of female Sid controversy?
Oh God, I, controversies just depress me these days.
They're going to make her female. They've given her boobs. How dare they? How dare they? She's not allowed to have boobs.
Clearly, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm okay with this.
Well, hmm. Like I say, I played 10 and I played 10-2, and yeah, they kind of put me off Final Fantasy. I saw some as well. I think I saw a Let's Play of Final Fantasy 13. Is it Final Fantasy 13? It's the one that's set in a really long corridor.
Yeah, the entire game's a long
A
corridor.
long corridor. Yeah, I saw a Let's Play of that, and it's like, yeah, this is really is not for me.
The inclusion of the mini-map was almost insulting.
Which
God,
way do you think you need to go? Hmm.
the one direction available.
Let me think.
I think my favorite point anyone has brought up on 13 is if you look at the leveling up system, like until end game, there's virtually no options. Even though it's trying to make it look like you have these choices, but you're basically going down a hallway for your fucking leveling up. Even
Yeah.
your customization system is a long hallway.
Well, at least you're not drawing magic.
Yes. Fucking hate drawing magic. This junctioning was the stupidest system.
Yeah, it really was. It was
Like,
awful.
like
But
mechanically, I understand how it works, but in
yeah,
context of the story, what the fuck are you doing?
yeah, that was one of the good things about 10. It's like, yeah, they got rid of all that. Hooray! Thank goodness for that. Thank
Instead, we got the
goodness.
sphere grid.
Yeah.
The illusion of having a choice when you level up.
Yep. Oh, the sphere grid. Good times.
They need to go back and do a new game like Final Fantasy V that did not take itself all that seriously. It was the comedy game of the bunch. And I think they need to do that again just to kind of level out all of the attempts at the grim, dark future society crap.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of really hung up on the dystopian future, aren't they?
Yeah.
They think they're Christopher Nolan.
Maybe they should just bring in Christopher Nolan to direct a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, why not? Just like go the whole hog. If you're gonna do it, do it. If you're gonna go dark and brooding, like go dark and brooding, Christopher Nolan. You know you want to. You might as well. At
Really,
this
I
point.
just want Suda51 to direct a Final Fantasy game. You know who Suda is, right?
Yeah.
I have a theory he should be allowed to make one entry in every video game franchise. Like, not a numbered entry, but just give him the reins on, like, one spin-off title for every franchise.
Oh God, no.
I have no idea what would happen, but it would be wonderful. God, it's been like, what, 20 minutes since we brought up Skyrim?
Well, to be fair, there are a lot of other the RPGs, and it's always going to be with for Skyrim with me that the reason why I love it is the game is very much what you make it, what you get out what you put in, and I can understand why some people might play it and just sort of do the story missions, just do the main story and go, well, you know, that's nothing. That was it. Huh? What? I think you kind of get out with Skyrim what you put in, and it doesn't. I love that it doesn't pull you along by a string. As I say, there's nothing wrong with linear storytelling unless it's Final Fantasy X.
Indeed.
But if you're gonna have, I mean, there's so many RPGs that already have that. I mean, Dragon Age had that. Dragon Age is pretty linear. Dragon Age, you know exactly what you've got to do. You know exactly where you've got to go at any one time. But with Skyrim, you can get pulled in by the plot hooks if you want to, or you can choose not to, or you can choose to just go and do your own thing. Go, go get some cabbages. Go catch some salmon. And I really like that it gives you all those options to do that. It is just like messing around in this large, huge, absolutely gorgeous world. I mean, even you have to admit the visuals in Skyrim are stunning.
For the
Absolutely.
most part, they're decent. Like, I don't think every area looks fantastic, but when you do find a beautiful area, it is amazing. Like the Underdark area,
Yeah,
that was like my second favorite next to just the underground snow forest you can find. I don't even remember where it is, but it's just like an underground cave, but you got a full forest down there,
yeah.
snow and light seeping in through the cracks in the top.
The dungeons look like how I imagine dungeons should look. Like when I play D&D, that's how I think of
Yeah,
dungeons, how they should look. And
I can see that.
yeah, it's obvious it's obvious that the amount of love and the amount of attention that's gone into making it. I mean, with Bethesda, it's always clear how much they love making games. It always is with Bethesda. I mean, they're not kind of slapdash about it, if you know what I mean. They're not kind of, oh, I mean, they're not Ubisoft. They're not like, yeah,
Nobody
is
would be
it
soft to be
almost ready? Release date? Yeah, yeah, just shove it out. No one will notice. No one will notice half everyone's head is missing.
fair. Oh, this. I don't know if this was intentional on the part of Bethesda or not, but they always do the thing which I've heard people call the Bethesda exit. Like
Yeah,
you'll go through the long dungeon, but there'll be that shortcut exit out of there. I don't. I think it was one of the Mage Guild stories that this happened. I don't quite remember though, but I was seeing my friend play through it, and there's this guy who just somehow managed to beat him to the end of the dungeon, even though you go in first and there's no way he could have passed you. But I'm just all, I probably just put up a ladder to climb up to the Bethesda exit. And as soon as he left the dungeon, he like jumped down and buried in the snow right outside was a giant fucking ladder. There was a ladder right here to the end of the dungeon, and all you would have had to do is lift it up, and you would have been at the end.
that's awesome. I like that. I love
I,
it. You put that in there.
I don't know if it was intentional or not, though. I think they were trolling the audience.
I was gonna say with Bethesda, it's probably a good bet that that was intentional.
Just right there's a ladder.
But that is Bethesda all over. I always love how much attention to detail that they put in everything, and it's always clear how much they love making games, and they do listen to their audience. They obviously took on board some of the criticisms of Oblivion when they were making Skyrim. And while yes, some would say that they've kind of dumbed things down slightly, I would say that is a legitimate criticism of Skyrim, that it is slightly, excuse me, it is slightly dumbed down. Because it's obvious at this point that they were wanting to kind of, I mean, if they're going to put that much effort in and make it that big, they wanted to have the big audience to play it. And I don't see anything wrong with that, to be fair. I don't see that as a problem for
I'm with
them.
you on that. I think they made a lot of good choices. Like, I actually think combat-wise and for your customization with the perk setups, it's actually the funnest gameplay-wise out of any of the Elder Scrolls titles I've played. I've not played like the first one or Daggerfall, just Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, but of those three, it's the funnest in terms of just gameplay.
Yeah, yeah, I really do think that they listened to their audience when people said that there were things about Oblivion that they didn't like, um, and they really kind of they changed that for Skyrim. And I'm always happy to support any developer that engages positively with their audience, which is something that Bethesda does. Um,
Indeed.
it's they listen and they make changes according to their audience. They don't just sort of say, "Screw you, you entitled baby." You know, what do you know about making games? So yeah, I'm happy to support a developer that will listen and that will engage positively with their audience. I really do like Bethesda as a developer. I
Now, if
mean,
only they'd release games that are less buggy at launch.
well, yeah.
Like, as much as I love New Vegas, that game was also just buggy as hell, but it's kind of sad I just expect that out of a Bethesda game.
Well, to be fair, that's not something. Certainly, recently, not something that's only Bethesda. We just mentioned
Yeah.
Ubisoft. I mean,
I'm just happy I don't like Assassin's Creed, because I'd have been pissed if I picked up Unity.
yeah, same. I mean, I played Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and 3, and after 3, I just completely lost interest. After that, it's like, nah, no. And there's going to be another Assassin's Creed game coming out next year.
Oh god, there's another one already?
Yeah,
I've not been following this.
it's going to be in. I think it's going to be in London. I'm sure they said it was in London.
I lost any faith in these games when...
Victorian London.
Oh, that's actually a neat setting, but regardless, I lost any faith in these games when the dude showed up in, like, the Italian Renaissance outfit in Civil War America. Like, what are you doing here, dude? You do not belong here.
Yeah, I think you've stumbled into the wrong game, son. In the wrong direction. No, I would have been so angry if I'd especially if I'd got it on PC when the option's not even there for you to get a refund. I mean, you got some free DLC in the end. Ooh, whoop-de-doo, but that means you can't sue.
uh, aren't
But
Ubisoft pretty notorious for, like, releasing horrid PC ports at this point?
yes, they are quickly gaining a reputation for just sort of saying screw you to PC players.
Yet
They
still
really
selling
are.
their game to them.
Yeah, they're getting a reputation for that, but not at all giving a toss about PC players. Um, I mean, I don't understand it either with Assassin's Creed Unity. I don't understand it because I mean, delaying a game even just for a month while you sort it out is, I mean, you can use that to your advantage to build more hype
I
for
mean,
it. I mean, Far Cry 4, I mean, that has its problems, but it's not nearly as bad.
yeah. You think Ubisoft, of all people, would know you can delay a game. I mean, look at Watch Dogs.
Well, yeah,
That got delayed, like, over a year from its original
yeah.
launch.
I mean, I think, well, the thing is with Watch Dogs, I think they delayed it, they left that too long, and then the expectations were too high with Watch Dogs.
I liked Watch Dogs. I
But at the
thought it was
same
a lot of
time,
fun.
it was a case of everyone was expecting almost photorealism with Watch Dogs, and there was the the E3 trailer as well that
Yeah.
everybody had seen, and oh my god, it's going to look so fantastic. And then when they actually saw it, it's just like, oh,
It still
uh,
looks great, but yeah, not
yeah,
that great.
just not as great as it was supposed to look, not as great as they said it was going to look. It's like, come on, guys, if you say it's going to look like this,
You
actually have
gotta.
it look like that. It's not too much to ask.
I know. See, this is why I like Nintendo's E3 conference better than everybody else's now, because they just show gameplay footage for
Yeah,
just about everything.
gameplay footage. And didn't they have a bit as well at last E3 where they just had the journalists come and play the games?
Yeah, they did their Nintendo Treehouse live streaming where it would just like show people playing the games on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, why? I actually really love Nintendo for that. I think that more companies could take a leaf out of Nintendo's, but then Nintendo are always just like always do their own thing.
They're this weird mix to me. Like they do some great things like their Nintendo Directs, their how they're handling the E3 conference now, which is just so far ahead of what the other guys are doing. But then they turn around and they're like trying to shut down the Super Smash Brothers streams from Evo, only to find out last minute this was a bad idea to do. They're simultaneously ahead and behind of everybody else.
Yeah. I think Nintendo suffers from that problem of being too big in some ways, in that sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
That's
And
entirely possible.
yeah, and it'll be that, it's one particular bit of Nintendo, one particular branch that's doing this, and the rest of Nintendo are just like, what are you doing? What? And so yeah, I think maybe sometimes Nintendo suffers from perhaps a lack of internal communications before they choose to before they make a decision, before they do things. They could probably do with just sort of hanging fire a bit sometimes.
Indeed. Either
But
way, I have my Wii U and I love it.
I had the option to get a Wii U, but I went for a PS4 instead. But I do quite fancy getting a Wii U at some point.
Yeah, the PS4 I think in the long run is going to be the better option. I mean, I do have my PS4. I pretty much own every current gen system, handhelds included, except an Xbox One.
Are you going to get an Xbox One?
I don't know. There's like one game I think I want, and that's the Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
But that is not a system seller.
No. I was never going to get an Xbox One, I think, and yeah, never. I mean, I played games all my life, but I didn't really get into actually talking to the gaming community, and I didn't actually really think of myself as a gamer until the DRM thing. With that.
Oh God,
That
DRM.
was when I started talking about gaming on Twitter, and just kind of went from there, really. And so I should probably thank Xbox for that. Probably say thank you for that. Wouldn't be here now if it weren't for them.
Alright. Theory I came up with a while ago is like the first person out of the current systems to announce any type of like DRM against used games things was Sony filing a patent on that kind of technology.
Yeah.
I think, at least this is my crackpot tinfoil hat theory for now, is
Okay.
they filed this patent never intending on using it, but we're waiting for Microsoft to say they were going to start blocking used games just so they could come out right after and go, oh, we're not doing that at all.
It's entirely possible. But if they did that, then props to them for some smart industrial espionage, for some smart industrial thinking there. If they did, props to them for that. But
I don't think we should give them props for doing something that shady, assuming that actually happened.
well,
It's
I
entirely
don't
possible
know.
they just saw the backlash after announcing that patent and then decided
Yeah,
against it.
yeah. I mean, we actually got up. I think it was like we got up at like 1 o'clock in the morning to watch Sony's E3 presentation to see whether or not there was going to be DRM on the PS4, and me and my husband both cheered really loudly when they said there was going to be DRM. And it was like, oh no, waking up all the neighbours. Whoops.
That is awesome.
But yeah, that's really what kind of got me into talking about video gaming on Twitter and then meeting and talking to other gamers. And then, of course, this year it's been Gamergate, which, I mean, I didn't write anything about video games until Gamergate, and that was when I started writing my blog about just about anything that pops into my head about gaming, really, about gaming culture, gaming community. So it has been a heck of a year for gaming.
Indeed.
If nothing else, it's been a heck of a year. So yeah, I should probably thank Xbox for that. But yeah, I will not buy an Xbox One.
One day I might. Now, now that it's lost the evil camera,
Yeah, yeah. I mean
that
to
thing
be,
creeped me out.
I mean to be fair, I probably wouldn't have anyway because I had a PS3. I still have it, and I love the PS3. The PS3 is a fantastic system. It has been great for us. It was our complete entertainment center for us. So I'd have probably stuck with PlayStation anyway because it's what I know. I mean, we have an Xbox 360 that a friend of ours said, "Can you look after this while I'm sorting out moving house?" And we've had it for a couple of months now. He'll want it back as soon as he gets Dragon Age Inquisition. So I've been playing games on the Xbox 360 as well, and it's okay. It's an okay system.
I owned one for a while, but then it red ringed on me, and I didn't care
Oh
enough to get it
no.
replaced.
Oh dear.
Like, well, I could spend the time to get this replaced. I'm not going to touch the system again if I do.
See, we had two PS3s. Our first one got the yellow light of death.
Oh,
So it's like, yeah, okay. So yeah, we did replace it. And to be fair, we'd had it a couple of years when it got the yellow light of death. So we did get a fair good time out of it. So it wasn't. Oh, naturally, my husband was absolutely gutted when it got because he couldn't fix it because he couldn't fix the yellow light of death.
yeah.
So it's just no, darling. We'll just get a new one. It's okay. I'll get you a new one.
I had to replace mine after like 5 years. Power died, like
Oh,
completely, and it died mid-game on me.
oh no.
It was what was I playing? Beyond Two Souls, I believe it was.
Oh, well, you weren't really missing anything then.
I really like Beyond Two Souls.
I hated that game. It was just a film with quick time events. That was it.
I can't deny that, but it was a fun film with quick time events.
Oh, yeah, it
I,
bugged me.
I preferred Heavy Rain to it,
Yeah, I think, yeah, Heavy
regardless of
Rain.
some glaring issues the game had. I still really liked Heavy Rain.
Yeah, David Cage is pretty notorious at this point.
You
There are some
know,
things about Beyond Two Souls, just a couple of little bits that really bugged me. Like the fact that when she's homeless and there's the guy tries to take you into the alley and you have to attack him. The option don't give you the option to rob him. I find irritating. Like,
I
come
was
on,
expecting you
take
to
the crown
bring up
out.
the
You might as well
awkward.
steal his wallet while you're at it.
I was kind of expecting you to bring up the awkward quick time child delivery bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like you're at the end there with like a catcher's mitt. You might, you might as well be.
That would have been beautiful. David Cage just accepts, I don't know how to write this to not be weird. I'm gonna just go goofy with this scene. It's weird, like, have you ever sat down and like listened to any of David Cage's interviews?
No, I have a life.
I've listened to a couple of them. I do not understand how this guy makes the games he does. Like, he's all talking about, oh, all video games are just like violence and car crashes and crap. And then it cuts to a trailer of Beyond Two Souls, which is like car chases, violence, things
Yeah,
exploding. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
because it's the emotions. The emotions and the polygons.
he seems to think that the polygons translate to emotions. But with less polygons, he's made some really emotional scenes and things. So I don't understand this man's mind.
I think he seems to think that he's somehow. I think he's kind of got it into his head that he's like an auteur of video games. So nobody else is doing it like he's doing it completely differently to everybody else. Nobody's making anything like he does. It's like, yeah, because everybody else is making actual video games instead of just movies that have got QuickTime events in.
Well, I'll still argue they're video games. I mean, what other medium could you possibly classify his work as? It has to be video games. The elements are there. It's just a really weird mix of game elements and narrative that I've not seen before.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. The thing is with Beyond Two Souls is that they put so much effort into it, so much effort into the technology and the actors and the visuals. It's obviously meant to look as much like photographic as it can be. And then they just seem to have shot themselves in the foot with the gameplay. They've spent so much time on the visuals that they forgot to actually make a video game. And
Well,
then, of course,
that,
there's the Ellen Page naked business as well.
I don't know. I don't think they forgot to make a video game. Like, it felt to me this is what they were intending to do from the start. Like, it doesn't feel like anything was left out that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
It's a really weird thing to play through these games and try to explain them, though.
It is. Is it me, or were there absolutely no likable characters at all in Beyond Two Souls? Everybody was an asshole.
Oh no, I know like the one dude. What I can never remember his character's name. It's just Willem Dafoe to me.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I
It's
really
really
liked Willem
fun.
Dafoe, and I can understand his motivations and reasoning. Like I found him very likable, even if he did kind of flip asshole on you at the end.
No, I didn't like anybody in that game. But to be fair, there's a lot of games that I have like that. Like The Last of Us, I don't like anybody in that game either.
I love The Last of Us.
I know everybody loves The Last of Us except me. Don't get me started on The Last of Us because it'll just be, I'll just be like getting hate, 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 hate.
Don't worry, I've gotten hate before because I hate Xenogears, and that is like a JRPG cult favorite with like the most diehard of fans.
Oh dear.
Or my moderate look at FF7 is decent.
Or the fact that you sort of like Dragon Age 2.
Yeah, I really like that game actually. Like, I love Anders and that whole bit at the end when he blows up the church. That was like one of the most impactful moments of the series for me right there. Just shit went so wrong in just an instant. It was
Yeah.
great. But the dungeons in that game,
Oh.
that there's nothing in that game that pisses me off more than the freaking dungeons. They don't even change the minimap.
Yeah.
Like, I can see the door frame right there. The minimap is telling me I can go through this. Why can't I go through this? Oh, because that's not in this dungeon. Fuck you. I hated those maps.
Yeah, that was it was obvious there that BioWare had rushed it to kind of cash in on the success of the first one. And to be fair, the first one is a fantastic game.
Indeed.
I mean, I spent months and months playing that. And when I picked it up, it had been out for a while already anyway. So I literally picked it up for about like £15 at my local supermarket. So I got a bargain because I spent so much time on that game, that was such a game for value for money,
Oh, definitely.
especially for 15 quid.
The best part is like my brother, like it's me, just me and him living here, is a huge fan. So he basically buys all the DLC because he wants it. So I pay for none of this and get to enjoy it all.
Sweet. Absolutely sweet.
Indeed.
Well, yeah, that's something I should probably bring up with going back to Skyrim eventually.
I
Is
guess we can go back to Skyrim now. This is the whole point of this talk, I guess.
is I think it represents great value for money in terms of its replay value, in terms of that you can keep going back and back and back and keep finding new stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're going to
Bethesda is a
pay that much
master.
for a new title, you do kind of want. I mean, some games can get away with being shorter, but yeah, I really think that Skyrim represents really good value for. You get a lot for your money in terms of replay value.
Oh yeah, in terms of just sheer content, it's hard to top games like Morrowind, Oblivion, and Elder Scrolls. Just
Yeah,
in general. In the
yeah.
end, I just can't get over some of the sloppier writing that comes up at times, and just the lack of impact all of the storylines you can go through have on anything. They just kind of end there and never come up again.
You go about your merry business.
Yeah, just that lack of relevance to your actions just kind of kills a lot of the fun I have in these kind of games. But
Oh,
again, I can see what you say with just the vast amount of content, and it is
yeah.
fun doing all those storylines.
Or
I
even just
just,
not doing any storylines, even just sort of
oh yeah, just
hanging
exploring.
around, just like bumming around in the game and just doing whatever you feel like
Just the
doing.
weird things you randomly find.
Yeah, and or just going around and just talking to everyone, or just going home and reading all your books, hanging out with the missus.
Oh god, what was the Daedric Lord? Sanguine, the drunk guy?
Oh God, yeah, I know what
Like,
you mean.
alright. When I first came across him, like, I didn't know he was going to turn out to be a Daedric Lord or anything, but I talked to him, we drank, like, I want to say it was Riften I was in, the Thief's Town
Yeah.
at the time. I wake up in Markarth, and I'm sitting there like pissed. I'm like, I'm gonna track this guy down. I'm gonna find out what he did to me and why he put me here. Like, it wasn't until like halfway through the quest I'd stopped doing it for a while. Cause I'm all, what's about to happen is I'm gonna finish this quest. I'm gonna find out he didn't actually do anything to me. We just got completely wasted and traveled all around Skyrim getting into shenanigans. Sure enough, that's what happened.
Yeah, it was just a crazy weekend.
I went from being mad to kind of sad at myself. It was great.
It was just a crazy weekend in Skyrim. Oh, well, I love that. That's great. I mean, how many games will let you do that?
Not many.
Just like you have a crazy weekend where you just go out drinking with somebody and then you wake up and you have no idea how you
It's
got where you are.
it's like a more interesting version of The Hangover.
See, if it were in the UK, you would have a police helmet and a traffic cone, and you'd have no idea how you got them.
I am so glad I've never got so drunk I've forgotten everything that happened.
Yeah, so am I. But,
Uh,
but I love that the game just gives you that option. It is literally like they sat down and sort of made a list. It's like what would everybody like to do in a sort of medieval style video game that you can't necessarily do in other RPGs. And I love that they put all those options in, even if nobody ever decides to do them. And you always be finding new things with Skyrim. Always be finding new stuff, new little details with it. And yeah, I really, really like that. In any video game, I love it when they clearly sort of put that kind of attention in and don't release just any old nonsense, just any old rubbish. Yeah, and the fact that they've got so much good DLC for it as well. So they've not just sort of stripped out. I don't think they have anyway. This is only my opinion. With some DLC, it's obviously clear that it should have been part of the main game, and they've clearly stripped it out to make DLC. I don't think they've done that with Skyrim.
Yeah, it never felt like they tried to pull anything like that.
Yeah,
Well,
whereas
it was great though. Like, I don't remember which house it was I got from the Hearth expansion. I can never remember that title, but like, I get my house, I build it, I step outside, and just like right behind my house is like this freaking cultist coven just parked out right there. Like, who sold me this place? Did they not think to mention the cultist behind my house? Like, not even hiding, he's just there with that table with all the crap on it.
well, hi there.
So, what a neighbor.
Yeah, you can't choose your neighbours.
But yeah, I can agree that it never really feels like they just strip stuff out to sell you later. I know they'll put like some things in the game's code to make it easy to insert the DLC at a later time. Like, that's
Yeah,
how people have preemptively found out about all of their games' upcoming DLCs and what they were going to be called, an idea of what they might be about, just by checking the game's code.
at the same time, though, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Oh no, I agree with you there.
I mean, what reason is there to be secretive about it? Really?
Indeed.
I mean,
But,
it's not like they're just sort of gonna go. No, we've got to keep it a secret until you can buy it, and then you've got to give us your money without knowing what you're gonna get. That's just no. That doesn't work like that. So yeah, yeah, if they put code in to make it easier to put the DLC in, that's fine by me. Again, as long as it's not a case of they've either stripped it out of the main game or it's on the disc already locked.
that didn't
Ooh,
really
on disc
me.
DLC.
Like, it's on the game, just let me play it, guys. That's all I want.
Yeah,
I just want to play the game you've made.
I've already paid for it. It's on the disc. I bought the disc. Therefore, just give me the DLC. It's on there already.
I don't see how they thought they were going to get away with that. It's not like they started doing it at a time when people weren't well aware of the people on the internet. Someone
Yeah,
was
this
going
is
to
the
crack
thing.
this and find it out.
They always seem so surprised when people figure it out as well. Like, what do you mean you know about that? How do you know about that? Yeah, internet. There's always going to be somebody that find you can't keep this stuff hidden. And to be fair, sometimes I think with leaks in particular, you've always got to be careful of leaked information because sometimes with companies this big, it's pretty clear that some information it gets out because they want it out there
Oh, yeah.
because they can control their information better than that. So when some information gets out there, it's obvious that it's like, yeah,
Like,
and
here's a
everybody's
full
making,
trailer,
yeah,
completely rendered and detailed.
yeah,
Leaked.
exactly, exactly, and everybody's making a big, oh no, that they got leaked, it got leaked, and yeah, no, it didn't, no, it didn't.
They released it.
Yeah, they
to
released it and said, "Oh
everybody.
no, it got leaked out. Oh no, whatever will we do?" Yeah, so yeah, with Skyrim, it never felt with the DLC that they have. It is great.
Well, there was the whole thing with the horse armor from Oblivion, but that was a one-off incident.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I mean, all in all, as a reputation, I mean, Bethesda has a fairly decent reputation as a developer. Fairly decent. I mean, there's
Not
some,
so much on the publisher side, but the developers
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Publishers, I think at times they're scummier than EA can be.
Yeah, clearly have issues with their PR, but that's the same with a lot of publishers at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, their PR people sometimes leave a lot to be desired.
Whereas there's the PR people, and there was the whole thing with Bethesda buying out Prey 2. Was it Prey
Yeah,
2? That whole story was just, that pissed me off.
yeah. I mean,
Really don't like the publisher end of Bethesda.
well, to be fair, that's more like the business side of things, isn't it? I mean, the actual game
Yeah.
making, the actual game development.
The developers I have no issue with. Those
Yeah,
guys seem alright.
yeah, they're great. It's obvious that they love what they do and they love the content that they make. And yeah, I love Bethesda's development side of things. Um,
Isn't that the case most of the time? That's like the developers are great. It's usually the publishers that are fucking everything
yeah.
up.
Well, I don't know. I mean, going back to Ubisoft.
I don't know how much of Unity was like the publisher saying it needs to be out now, and how much it
Yeah.
was the developers not giving a fuck. That's a hard call to make.
Yeah, because they had so much. I mean, it wasn't just that, was it? I mean, there was the stuff beforehand with the women are too hard to animate as, as well. So they might have got an slightly easier time of it if they hadn't had that already when they were already
You know,
saying that's
in
too much
response
hard
to
work.
that bit, I I can understand cutting like smaller budget aspects to make for the budget. So I can see why they might have cut making women, but like, why is that what's getting prioritized as a cut over any of the other stupid shit?
Yeah.
I don't understand Ubisoft's priorities
Yeah.
here.
Why do you need to make an absolutely picture perfect replica of Paris, but you can't put some boobs on? Come on, people.
I don't get Ubisoft.
No, and it was quite clearly pointed out to them that there were options that they had. I mean, they were trying to say it was, twice as much work and all this kind of stuff, and it was clearly
Okay,
pointed
that
out.
is clearly bullshit.
Yeah, it was clear no, nobody's buying that, love. Nobody's buying it.
Maybe if they just came out and said, we had to cut some smaller aspects of the game, that was a cheap one to help us fit the budget. I don't think
Yeah,
anyone would have been as pissed.
even if they just said, look, the game's about guys. It's about male characters. So we didn't put any women in because we couldn't be asked. I at least could have respected that as an honest answer.
No
It's about
way they
men.
would say something like that right now.
Yeah. It's about men. Deal with it. We didn't put any women in because we couldn't be bothered. So at least that's honest. If nothing else, none of this. Oh, it's too much hard work business. It would have doubled the workload and all this kind of rubbish. It's like, yeah, because as I say, making a picture perfect replica of Paris, oh yeah, that's really where your priorities lay. And again, when they released the game, it's like some people's heads are missing. There's people that are in the floor. Come on, guys.
You know,
Really?
I almost wish they wouldn't fix that. Just like make it so the game runs right, so you can play and beat it, but leave just the lack of body, so you just have that awkward teeth and eyes thing floating there. Like they've already fucked up beyond repair at this point. They may as well run with it.
Might as well make a joke out of it. Might as well.
It's not going to be anything else.
But they spent all that time making Paris picture perfect. Damn it! Oh, Ubisoft. And the thing is, people are like, "Oh yeah, Ubisoft, they're the new EA. They're the new EA." It's like, yeah, no, they're not. When they've been doing this for like another 10 years, then they can be the new EA. EA,
oh no,
yeah.
like
EA
who was it before EA? Activision?
Sorry?
Like who was it before EA? It was Activision?
Yeah, I think it was Activision.
Then they passed the shit mantle off to EA. They're getting ready to pass it off to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I wonder who gets it next.
That
Maybe it'll
says
just
a
go
lot.
back to EA. Maybe it'll just go back to EA.
That's a bit of a sad indictment on the state of modern gaming, where companies are competing with each other about how shit they can be. That's a bit of a sad thing.
It's become EA's badge of honor for this year. Is hey, this year we weren't as bad as Ubisoft.
Oh,
I wish they would release that advertisement and actually say that about themselves.
because people would get behind that. People would at least think that was funny. It's like, yeah, okay, we can respect that you're.
There's at least an acknowledgement that they've been shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be crap, don't pretend like to care. Don't pretend. We know you're gonna be crap. At least be honest that you're gonna be crap, and then leave us the choice about whether or not we still want to support you.
Indeed.
And this is the thing. I won't play Dragon Age Inquisition because it's an EA title. It's like, yeah. No
I
thanks.
love Dragon Age Inquisition, actually. It's my favorite of the series.
If I'm gonna buy it, I'll get it pre-owned. Just to say,
Fair enough.
just to say, screw you, EA.
But yeah, it's my favorite Dragon Age yet. But I can understand telling EA to fuck off.
Yeah,
I was tempted to skip this one out.
big time. Well, after 2 as well. Mm. Do you ever get the feeling with sequels sometimes it's just like, no, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to go play the original again. I'm not going to, no. I don't want to play. Taking my ball back.
Oh no, I'm a fan of Persona 4, and I have played every spin-off and sequel thing they've released for it so far. Now, I like Atlas. They make some great games, but I don't think I have ever seen a company just whore themselves out to the extent Atlas has done. People are all, oh yeah, they started doing this with Persona 4 after Sega bought them out. No! It's just most of their shit hasn't come stateside because we don't care about half the shit they whore out over there.
Nope.
Like, I think there was a freaking ice show or musical for Persona 3.
Oh,
What the fuck, guys?
it's not Disney, was it?
I don't know, it wasn't Disney.
To be fair, wouldn't that be awesome?
Disney doing a Persona title on ice. God,
Persona
I don't
on
know
Ice.
what to expect out of that.
They do have a really kind of strong, loyal fan base, though, don't they?
Yeah,
It's quite a niche thing. They've got quite a rabid fan base.
indeed.
I have a friend who cosplays as a character from Persona, and yeah, they're really it's really big in like the cosplaying crowd.
Indeed. God, we're at like an hour and 40 minutes now. I don't think half of this conversation has been about Skyrim.
Yeah, but in a way, that's kind of like Skyrim because we've meandered off from it and then we keep going back, which is exactly what I do with
In
the
this sense,
game.
we kind of keep going back out of obligation because
Keep
it
doing
is
that
kind
with
of
the
a
game.
Skyrim episode. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything about it that we're going to, so.
Yeah, I think to kind of sum it up for me, um, Skyrim is for the kind of RPG player that likes to have lots and lots of choices and is not necessarily wanting a game that's really structured and really linear. And if you're really kind of if you really want that kind of structured, set adventure with set characters and knowing exactly what you're doing and exactly where you're going, then Skyrim may not necessarily be for you. But I would say give it a go anyway, just for the Dark Brotherhood stuff.
And I would say you can have all that without sacrificing the stronger narrative and writing, which showcased by Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, will you ever stop going on about that?
No, I won't, because the game is awesome.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up.
Indeed. Well, thank you for everyone who's been listening in, and thank you, Angela, for coming on to argue with Skyrim with me and whatever else we covered this conversation.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I should have warned you about that. That to like wander off on tangents.
It's all good. Me and Oliver did it too last episode on a few different things. I
Yeah,
think that
I think
conversation ended up at Atlas 2 at one point.
I think it always happens when gamers start rambling.
Indeed. Well, the way, enjoy the rest of your night then. It's what,
Okay.
getting close to 10 there for you?
Yeah, it's just after 9:30 in the evening. So I'm playing some more Tomb Raider while my husband is out.
Alright, well, again, thanks everyone for coming by. Be sure to follow Angela Knight here over on her blog and on Twitter. I should have that linked in the description of the video. And feel free to check this out on SoundCloud when I get it uploaded to there in the YouTube video and a shortened 15-minute version for people who don't want to listen to us ramble on for 2 hours.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Not a problem.